Hi, my name is Shannon and I Om. Before Om, I worked in an office and I'd go to meetings and I would have ideas about how things could be done better, and I didn't know how to express myself. I would start to speak up if I felt really strongly about something, and the other people in the room wouldn't necessarily hear what I had to say, and so I was reluctant to keep trying because I didn't feel like I could be heard. I was soft-spoken and I was going through life just expecting that that's just how I was and how my life was always going to be, that I'm not a loud person, I wasn't super confident, so I was just going along like, well, what can I do? What fits me as a quiet, soft-spoken person? So there were a lot of things I didn't explore because I didn't think they worked for me. Before I started oming, I would see other people, especially women, like ask for what they want and judge them as being like high maintenance and kind of obnoxious. But I was also really envious that like they knew what they wanted, they were asking for what they wanted, they weren't ashamed of asking for what they wanted. I had an idea that to be powerful, I had to be a certain way. I saw it in other people, and it was a certain level of confidence, a certain level of volume, taking up space, and that just didn't seem to fit me, so I didn't think I had power, or I didn't have access to power. And I've since learned through the practice that that's not true, that I do have a lot of power, it just expresses in my own way. The most impactful aspect of the Om practice for me has been making adjustments, making requests. It's helped me get in touch with my voice and also like in touch with my sense of feeling of what I actually want. Early in my Om practice, I had an expectation that the adjustments that I was going to ask for would be clear messages that came through me, that they were going to be loud and direct and clear, and it just wasn't that way. I had to experiment and just play around with it and sometimes guess or feel like I was guessing. That voice of or knowing of what adjustments I actually did want became clearer, but they never really got louder. What I've learned through the practice is that my internal voice is much like me as a being, that it is soft and subtle, and there's still power and gravity there. And obviously now, after years of practice, I'm still a soft-spoken person. What I've noticed now is that I can sit down at a table full of people and explain something, and I have everyone's attention. I don't have to be loud, but I do have a certain sense of magnetism and gravity that people pay attention to. I've learned through the practice of Om to get in touch with and recognize a sense of power in myself that I didn't used to feel. And I've learned that my power doesn't look like everyone else's, but it's still there. My name is Shannon, and I Om.